So what I'm going to talk about today is basically stems off of what Mike has been talking about, Gary, Dan, in terms of the idea of unity within our group, interpersonal relationships, like what Mike's talked about, and just the idea of family in general. And a lot of the things that I've been running into in even just my personal life, there's a lot of examples of different family dynamics and what it takes to be part of a family. And I've been thinking and trying to rack my brain on how it applies to us. And one particular scenario that just happened to me recently was with my dad, my two uncles, and I, when we sat down at a bar past weekend ago, and they gave me the ancestor talk. It's basically like you're getting married, you're an adult now, and it's time for you to figure out where you come from and like all this stuff. So I grew up not really knowing anything about my dad's side of the family. He never really talks about it, but all I knew was that they were completely dirt poor, and he was one of 10 kids. So my first question and only question is, how the hell did my grandparents do it? You know, on one income with 9 boys, 1 girl in a 500 square foot cinder block house in Metro Manila. And the answer that they gave me was actually pretty interesting. They said, we just figured it out. And they accepted that they were as poor as they were going to get, and their parents' expectation of them was that they were all going to get educated, but not just educated, they were going to get private education, college, and graduate education. And so it's like, how did you guys do that? And they said, we had expectations, we had roles. We accepted that this is what our situation was. We had roles, and we followed our parents' vision. And they were able to do it. Every son and my one aunt went to private school, went to college. They put 5 through architecture school, 1 through med school. And it was pretty amazing. So I'm trying to think of how does that apply to us, or how does that apply to what it takes to be part of a really tight-knit family that moves forward. And I think it comes down to those ideas of 1, acceptance, 2, understanding that there are roles that everybody has to play, and 3, having a vision, having an idea of, at the end of the day, we're all taking this family, this group forward somewhere. And I don't think it just has to apply to families, it applies to groups, teams, any organization that has an understanding that we are who we have, this is where we're going, this is what we need to do. So I look at us, and everybody in our company is very quick to say, yeah, well, you're not just working for a company, you're working with a family, right? But what does that really mean to us? You know, what does that mean to be part of a family? I mean, yeah, we work together, we're friendly, we go out, we have drinks, but you know, what does it take to be part of a family? And I think it's those intangible rules of acceptance, right? Understanding where we are in the family's dynamic, and where we're going to go. So, you know, like I said, in my dad's scenario, they accepted we're as poor as we're going to get. You know, we're only going to make so much money from Philippine Airlines. But it's every son's responsibility, once they make it, once they're successful, that they pay for their other brothers and sisters along the line and make sure that they get out. And that's how it worked. And for us, especially in the city, I think we have to get to that point where we accept we're the city. This is who we are. You know, this is the personalities, these are the backgrounds, these are the people that we have. We're as good or as bad as we're going to get. Right? And then the second thing was responsibility. In my dad's family, everybody had a responsibility. Everybody had a role. And if they weren't playing their role, something was wrong. And same thing here. I mean, I look at Empire as a humongous granite table with 28 legs. And every leg holds up a part of the load. And if one leg is a little shaky here and there, the other legs kind of compensate. But it can't get too shaky because all of a sudden the table tips. And if all the legs start, you know, dispersing the load unevenly, not holding up their end, the table crashes. Right? So that idea of making sure that not only we're bearing the load, but we're making sure that we pave the path for other people in the organization is exactly what we're doing, right? That's what we're doing with Chris. That's what we're doing with Matt. That's what we've all done. Everybody that's come through Empire has come through somebody else's success. And that's the role and that's the responsibility that we all have. And finally, the vision. Our vision is, we're changing what sales means. We're revolutionizing the idea of what it is to be a sales professional. Just like my grandparents' vision was, we're taking our kids out of the Philippines, they're getting educated, they're making a life for themselves. Now that's a very high expectation, that's a high bar coming from them. And it's the same thing with us, it's a really high bar. We've committed to this. That's what we've accepted. And we have to have that overarching vision in order for us to continually move forward. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about family is just the idea of the little things. The things that we're doing right. And it started with Mike saying that we need to do things to forward our interpersonal relationships, to get together once, and it started again with Eric, with the event that we had on Friday, getting together and getting those little things. And in my experience with my uncles, that little thing of sitting down and having a drink with them really made it feel like a family. It made me feel like I belonged. It made me feel like I had earned my right to be an adult, to be a man in our family. And that's the same thing here, where we get together and we do small things like that. Like get together and have a drink or go out and go see a show and feel like we're together. And that acceptance, that small little thing, really contributes to what our larger goal is, which is basically to get our family out, to get our family to make something of ourselves and to do something great. And so, where does that put us? What do we have to do? We're out to transform sales. That's what our family's goal is. We've accepted it. We are who we are going to be. This is our group. We're as good as we say we are. We are as good or as bad as we're going to get. And by the way, we're fucking really good. That's the only thing that we have to hang our hat on. And that we have each responsibilities, a role to play. We all have a part of the table to hold up. And it's up to every one of us to make sure that that responsibility is carried out and it trickles down. And we make sure that everybody shares the successes that we all do. As soon as one of us makes it, somebody has to make it as well.